hang tight. Patience is a virtue. It's okay, right? Appreciate for everybody for being here as well. Yeah, I saw that. Appreciate it. Okay, so I see him coming back in. So let's try it again, guys. Let's see here. 1 second. Aaron, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We're good. I can hear you, so we're fantastic. Sorry for that delay. I appreciate you coming back, man.
No problem.
All right, so first, I kind of shared a little bit, some people that are in here might know you, some might not. So I shared a little bit of what you do, but you're going to be able to talk about like what you do on your channel, how long you've been doing gig work, just kind of share your story because I think it's kind of unique. If you want to start with that first.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was a pest control guy for 17 years, and then rideshare came along, and I was interested in that. So I started doing Uber and Lyft rides in June of 2015, and quit my regular pest control career in April of 17. So I have now been a full-time, relying on gig employment for going on 6 years.
Wow.
And
that's impressive. That's a long time, man.
But I tried the delivery. I never thought that I would prefer delivery over the rides, but I tried it back when Lyft revoked the veteran extra 5% pay. Every time they did a pay cut, I would want to stop doing that platform as long as I could afford to. So that's when I tried DoorDash, and I fell in love with staying near my own neighborhood all day and nobody throwing up and and not ending up on the other side of the freaking state, when you're about to finish. So I've been doing just the delivery for like a little over a year and a half now. So
yeah. And you obviously have Uber. You're doing Uber now because of the DoorDash deactivation. So can you also share a little bit, because this is what I remember from when I first was watching your channel, and maybe that's changed, I'm not sure. I feel like you work the apps in a very unique way. So can you just talk about kind of like how you do it? I know you take some time off, I think, like kind of like consecutive weeks or months at a time. So can you kind of share how your schedule and why you do that?
My channel has evolved into people just watching me bust my ass for 9 months, doing 7 days a week and 15-hour days and showing huge payouts to earn the summer off. I take June, July, and August off. I go up to Washington. I do a bunch of fishing, bunch of drinking, bunch of relaxing, just pretend like I'm retired, and it's awesome. My mom has an awesome 3.5-acre place, deer cruising through the yard, and her boyfriend has a cabin right on the Swift Reservoir Lake loaded with fish. So it's just It's an awesome way for me. It's an awesome way to play this being a gig worker game and having the summer off and getting out of the Arizona heat too. So
I mean, there's not a lot of other jobs that would afford you that ability, right? To be able
I
to
don't
do that.
think you can get a whole 3 months off from a job. You'd have to just quit and hope that they'd rehire you. So that's what's keeping me doing it. After all the stuff that happens to you, just like this, recent deactivation tries to throw a wrench in it, but I just said to my son the other day, I've got to have at least one more summer off. So I'm still grinding it out on Uber Eats and thinking about my options on, adding some of the other apps. And
yeah. So before we get right into that, one more question. How many summers have you done the 3 months off?
I've done 4 straight now.
Wow. That's impressive, man. Now I know for me, I couldn't do it. I could not grind like you grind. It'd be hard for me to do 15-hour days for 9 months. I mean, I don't think
anybody can. I've never seen anybody else doing it. And you see these other YouTube guys doing 100-hour a week, like twice a year. And I just laugh at those because I'm doing it every single week. And I show it on my channel every week. So I think that's how my channel has been able to grow beyond just a smaller one. So
because I know you do your weekly payout and you're posting some really big numbers. You're obviously online a lot. You're driving a lot, but the numbers are really big. And for you, what I think that's cool about it, this isn't going to be for 99.9% of people that do this work. And you know that, and everybody else does, right? But look at what he has something to look forward to, right? Like you have something, you're fishing, you're drinking, you're partying, you're hanging out, you're relaxing for 3 months, I've never had that much time. I've never had more than a week or maybe 10 days. Right?
And it doesn't fly by. It seems like a long ass time. I'm actually like ready to get back to work when it's over.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's killer.
Do you ever get it? Do you ever get into that new state of Washington? And are you ever tempted to turn the apps on? Have you ever turned the app on, or do you just completely shut it off?
No, I did a couple $100 worth on my last summer off, just to go mingle with the town. My mom lives in a small town called Longview, so it's only like 38,000 people. So it's a whole different way of, you have to sit around for a while. And she lives 15 minutes up in the hills, so you got to cruise down into the city part. And here I just log on from my house, and I'm surrounded by all the restaurants and stuff that I go to. So I did some videos on that. I show the small town, doing the delivery in the smaller town and how different it is.
Oh, I would imagine it's extremely different. So let's get into the meat and potatoes. Now, I saw your video. Many of the other people did. Also, congratulations on 1K. That's a big deal for content creators. You got monetized. I know that's something you've been working on. So congrats on that, man. That's awesome. That's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
So talk to us
about
ease
the blow of this deactivation thing, knowing that I'm monetized now, and
I hear you.
Channel's growing.
Because with just one app or having to do Uber, I would imagine the opportunities aren't as much. So you're probably going to make less. I don't know how this week was for you, if you want to share that first, but
everybody's going to see that on Tuesday morning, and it is a little less, but I'm not out yet, so I can still work with this and earn my summer off. So, but everybody will see that on the video. It's called my payday video. It's out you'll wake up to it on Tuesday morning. So check that out.
Yeah. I see him every Tuesday, man. Yep. So talk to us about what happened. The DoorDash deactivation. If you can just share with us, like first what happened from the email side and your experience, and also, like, I think they basically said, like, it was fraud because reporting stores closed. So if you can just share with us what that meant for you, like how many times did you do that over the last couple of weeks? Like, just share that with us so that we can get some perspective on what happened and if there's any updates from DoorDash.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard from DoorDash since they sent me the deactivation email, and I haven't been paid. They've kept over $1,700 of my full 95-hour week's pay. But yeah, I worked overnight. I worked 9 p.m. till 12 noon the next day, every day, 7 days a week. So I'm getting sent to these closed restaurants every night. I mean, there's not a night that goes by where I'm not clicking that I deserved the half pay to show up to the restaurant. But I think that what they're talking about is these restaurants that tell me they're closed when they shouldn't be. And it's McDonald's and Jack in the Box are the main culprits. But last night I pulled up to CVS to do a shopping order, and there's door's locked with a sign on it. I put it on my community post. So that is what I think because it's the employees that are slacking off. There's no manager there at 2 a.m. And I have 4 videos that I remember showing me getting denied through the drive-through. So
I remember the one.
It's almost like evidence.
I remember the McDonald's one from maybe a month ago. I remember you were talking through the drive-through.
Current one. Yep. And they're saying they ran out of food. They're changing their reason for not giving me the order, and that was my second denial in a row from that restaurant. They previously said that they'd given it to another driver. So I'm constantly battling with these employees that don't feel like doing the deliveries. It seems like they're ticked off that it exists. Now they have to stay busy throughout the whole night instead of getting 2-hour breaks. So that's my issue, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So there's a couple questions here. I'm not gonna be able to see all the questions, guys, but ask them. Do you ever call support when this happens? So can you share with us the process of maybe some things you've done or not done? I know sometimes the app for me has me take a picture. Other times it doesn't. So tell me about like the process of you getting an order. Like, do you call support? And also, when you get that order from that McDonald's or Jack in the Box, do you know they're going to be closed, but you still want to get the half pay? Just share a little more information from your side.
I've suspected a place is closed that's actually closes at night, and and took it and went by and checked. But I mean, the 24-hour places are supposed to always be open. So, yeah. I mean, I would suspect that's the ones that they're, I mean, I've pulled up to McDonald's and there's a van there and they've got caution tape over the drive-through and they're telling me they're going to clean the hood vents. That's happened to me recently. So in that situation, I think I have a good picture with the caution tape and there's cones. And so if there's a sign posted explaining why they're closed and they should be open, or that, you know, the drive-through is blocked off, then I want to hurry up and keep working. So I take the picture, and people have said in my comments in hindsight that I should call every time, and that's Uber makes you call every time. So hopefully that keeps me out of any jeopardy on Uber. But I call if they're just verbally telling me they're closed. Then I call, like the recent McDonald's video. I called them on that one. I have a ride along video where I call support because IHOP told me they gave it to another driver, and it shows me telling the support that I don't believe them because she wouldn't look at the items, and the person's name was Nick. There could have easily been two Nicks. So I have it on video of me telling the DoorDash support that I don't believe the restaurant employee, and think they don't feel like doing the order.
You know, Aaron, it seems like obviously your schedule is different than a lot because you're doing these graveyard shifts, right? So you're a lot of these merchants should be open 24/7, but obviously a lot of places and a lot of markets, their hours of operation have changed. That might not reflect the DoorDash app, and the customer doesn't know. So they order McDonald's at, let's say, 2 a.m. when it's supposed to be open 24/7, but they're going to close for a couple hours for hood cleaning, for short staff, or they're being lazy, whatever the reasons are. There's 20 different possibilities, right?
Yeah.
But do you think that the issue you're having and the reporting the stores closed and the reason DoorDash is saying it's fraud is because it happened so many times just because of the hours that you work? Do you think that has something to do with it or not?
Probably. I mean, I probably do it more than anyone else because I'm 7 days a week and, you know, I'm working throughout that whole time when it happens. But I've been on DoorDash for, you know, going on 2 years, and this has to be recent. I just took June, July, and August off and got back to work September 3rd. But it was happening a ton before my recent time off. So I think they're weeding people out. That's my personal opinion. I've never, ever wanted the Top Dasher. I've never believed it, never bought into it. I've never taken a no-tip order. And they have such driver saturation that they can just clear out all the full-timers that have figured it out and are playing their system. And that's what I suspect is going on. Why I'm out of it.
That could be it. And even if you would ask DoorDash that through an email or whatever, and I want to get to some of the correspondence you might have had with them, like they're not going to admit that, but it's a shame because you take 3 months off, but you're delivering more deliveries than most drivers out here. Would you agree with that? Like the sheer amount of volume.
Even with the 3 months off, I'm probably doing more than the majority of any other driver.
And even if your acceptance rate's really low, because you're not a Top Dasher, so your acceptance rate's probably really low, you're still delivering a lot of food for them. So you would think, you know,
that's what I thought.
It's crazy.
Before this happened, I thought that should be good enough, you know, and somebody that puts in that much time but they don't know you. And that's what we got to remember about these gig apps. You've never met them. You're working for a computer basically. So an algorithm could have fired me. So, I mean, it's,
let me ask you this question. Now that you just mentioned that, because I was thinking it earlier, you've been doing DoorDash, I think 2 years or whatever, right? A lot of deliveries, all your shifts are, you know, so I would imagine you've had this happen hundreds of times. Maybe it's an algorithm thing. I'm not saying this is fact, guys. We're just talking here. Maybe it's to the point where once you do it the 100th time, the algorithm says, okay, this account has reported this store closed this many times. Like, nope, we're just going to get rid of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could be something like that because we're not actually. It's a computer system. It might be software built in to when a driver does this many times, and you're driving more than most people, and you're driving in a time of night where the likelihood of you running into these issues is way higher than mine. Because I'd probably say, I mean, I've probably reported stores closed 50, 60 times, maybe in total. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
you know, I would imagine yours is probably more than that.
Way more, hundreds.
Yeah, hundreds. Yeah. So do you think it could be something like that? Like it's just
I
you got to a
totally
certain
do.
number and yeah.
Yep, I think, and I mean, I've asked the support, who's paying for this? When I know that they're lying and they should be giving me the order, I'm like, are you charging the restaurant for this? I've said that to the support, you know, several times. I'm like, is there a punishment? I'm like, you need to threaten to revoke the platform from this restaurant because they're abusing the system. I would always rather do the delivery, and I've never ever received half pay unless I couldn't get the order. So in my view, I deserve that. I drove my car $5 a gallon gas to the restaurant, you know. So
let me ask you a question, because some people asked me this when they knew you were going to be on the show. Maybe you've seen it in your comments. I don't know. Have you taken orders when they hit your phone? Let's just say it's $8 going a couple miles. Hey, it's a good order, right? Have you taken an order knowing the store was closed and then went there knowing you were going to get half pay? Has that happened?
I've always just suspected it might be closed. I was never for sure guaranteed fact that it was closed, because I don't have them all memorized. And the ones that I have the most trouble with, and the ones that they're probably, you know, deactivating me for, are the 24-hour places that claim they're closed. So it was what I would suspect.
So I'm going to read this comment from Mr. Flex. He says, tell him to call corporate. So have you called anybody, or is it all your correspondence been through email or like the live chat? Like what kind of communication have you had with DoorDash in the last, I guess, it's been not even a week, right?
Yeah, I haven't done any. I haven't. I've been waiting it out. I'm still in shock, and I could not believe that they were allowed to keep that much money. And I've been getting hammered on, you know, my comments asking me why I don't cash out, and I've never cashed out. I'm still not cashing out. I have a huge balance on my Uber right now, so I don't want to. I want it to hit my bank account as a weekly payment, and it makes it a huger crime that DoorDash committed against me. So I don't regret.
But why not cash out now? Now that you've had this issue, why not change that method? You know, because you'll still get the same amount of money. You know what I'm saying?
If I was able to get back on DoorDash, I'd probably be too paranoid to leave the balance. But I have over 26,000 rides given on Uber and Lyft, and they've never ever shorted my pay. So and Uber's the app that I'm doing right now on delivery. So I don't. I might be stupid, but I'm trusting that Uber's not going to. I mean, what are the odds of it happening again? You know, to me.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I hear you. I mean, I wouldn't risk it. That's just me. I mean, because your money's so you're not making $500 a week. You're making 3 times that most of the time. You know, so like, I mean, if I were you, I'd call corporate. It doesn't hurt. You know, I would call them and try to get with somebody, because at the end of the day, they're holding your money. And I'm not sure if that's like an automatic, you know, every time you get deactivated, they hold it or they keep it. If that's the case, if they're holding it just to investigate, you should get it back. If they don't pay you because they deactivated you and you did something against TOS, regardless if it was legitimate or not, that's an issue. I know technically we're independent contractors, but you did the work. So you should get paid for the deliveries that you did that week. So if I'm you, I'm calling corporate tomorrow. I'm leaving emails. I'm sending voicemails. I'm trying to talk to somebody that can personalize the issue for you, because like you said, it's an algorithm. They don't care about Aaron. They don't care about Pedro. They don't care about John and Mama and Ellen, and they don't care about any of us. It's an algorithm. So, but I think if you talk to somebody that could look into your situation and the time that these store closures were reported, and I think that would be an easier way for you to expedite the process of getting the 1,700 back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've never known how to call a real. I mean, I only know how to call the overseas call center, and they don't move you up. I've asked to discuss this issue before. I've asked to talk to whoever is in charge of disciplining these restaurants. I've tried to get them to forward me to someone that, you know, maybe to the
you know
US
this
that
is
I can, you know.
This is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to ask anybody that's a content creator here or anybody that, you know, Twitter's really, I'm not really on Twitter, but Twitter, social media, DoorDash does have a public relations department that's in San Francisco. We need to find that number. And that's the number you got to call. Forget the support number. There's got to be other numbers and other ways to get somebody's attention. That way they can look at this. Because $1,700 is like, that's a lot of money. Right.
Yeah.
And now at this point, it's about principle. Right. It's about like, I did the work, I should get paid. You know, because I think right now the correspondence that you seem to be having, and you said you haven't had any other ones besides the ones you share with us, right?
Yeah.
And those are just people in.
That's all. They've sent me 2 like emails like I'm still a driver, asking me to join their Drive Well program, and so my phone was still giving me notifications saying I should log on because it's busy. So I had to turn those off because I click on the app and it's deactivated. So they're not even smart enough to turn off your still a driver correspondence. So
there's a question here I just mentioned, and Maya's saying, how do you call DoorDash's corporate office? There's got to be a number. I've never done it, okay, but there has to be. You know, if somebody can do a quick Google search or something, like there has to be a way to get in contact with somebody, right? There has to be. And the more that we share this video and his video and tweet it and put it on Facebook, Reddit, DoorDash does have people that look at social media and they do something. They monitor. So when I worked at the casino, right, we had a social media manager. She would monitor bad comments, good comments about restaurant experience and things people would put on Facebook or Yelp, things like that. Like this information can get out there. I don't know what the number is, but if somebody could look it up, then go to Uber Lyft Phoenix's channel, put it in one of his videos. Like, you know, I'll look up the number later myself and send it to you. But I think that's what we have to do. I mean, $1,700 is a lot. And I'll tell you this, if I got deactivated tomorrow because if I did something that I knew was wrong, and after doing my own research, I felt like, you know what, technically they're right. I'd be mad, but I'd be mad at myself. But if you're just trying to work and the app is sending you to stores that are closed, it's not your fault that you chose to work that time of night. Like they should pay you $1,700. That's kind of how I see it, you know, and you shouldn't have to only have one app, you know, like that's not, you know, it's not cool, man. I don't know.
I agree.
So here we go. Gig Lebowski says, I'm going to put the number up and I'll send this to you. 855-973-1040. I'll text it to you now. But I mean, I know you work so hard that I feel like you're not like a lot of drivers. We work paycheck to paycheck, right? I know you've got, you're not hungry right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I know you've got money. Like, you know, I've seen your videos, you know, so.
But the best thing about this situation is that they can't break me. And I just paid my house off recently, and I don't need, that money. I want it, and I'm owed it, but they're not gonna break me. They're not gonna screw up my summer off, and everything's gonna continue and go forward. And
well, I gotta say this. I think it's amazing that you have that attitude. I would not be so kind. I'd be, I'd be pissed. And I know you are, but I just, I think it's the fact that you can still be positive and still like, well, I just got to go to Uber. I'm still going to grind. I'm still going to make money.
I believe that, the karma will pay me back, and it's boosted my channel. DoorDash is got to be the worst gig company now that this made me aware of their other, that getting caught stealing people's tips and the rideshare professor saying that they're doing this to a bunch of drivers. They're deactivating them and keeping their final pay. So every time I got temporarily turned off of Uber and Lyft for like a false customer accusation, or I always got a phone call to discuss it. And DoorDash doesn't do that. They just send you that email, the little message on your app that you can't turn on, and that's it. That's all they do. So, but this kind of stuff is gonna be what makes them forced to become employers, and I don't want that. I don't think the majority of any gig workers want that. I can't have that because I don't think they're gonna let you do 100 hours a week if you're employed.
I could not agree more. And when I've made videos in the last couple of weeks about this, because the Labor Department, as you know, and you've seen that proposing us to be reclassified. And I think of drivers that work 60, 70 hours a week, even if it's only for a couple of months for whatever reason. You're not gonna be able to do that. They're gonna probably have you work 30 or 32 hours a week. You're gonna, in some cases like yours, you'll make half the amount of money that you're used to, right? And you know, that's, even if you get some kind of benefit or this or that, it's still not gonna equate for somebody like you and a lot of other people. So I'm totally, I'm not for the W-2. I don't think we need that in this type of work.
I think it could potentially end the whole thing. It would go back to taxi cabs and ordering pizza only for delivery, you know, and you could no longer get your CVS hangover order with your Pedialyte and Advil and Imodium, you know. So
I'm sure you do.
People
a lot
are
of those,
spoiled on this, and they're going to be devastated if it goes away.
Yeah, no, I hear that for sure. So Gig Lebowski put up a different number actually, and I'll wind up sending you that one as well. I text you the first one, but I'd call him, man. I mean, shit, I'll call him for you. Shit, I don't, you know, it's, you know, and I know hopefully they see this. I still think I'm positive. I'm hopeful that you'll get the money. I think maybe they're just, DoorDash is very slow to react to things. Okay. I think a lot of us have had that experience. It's funny that they're sending you other emails about do this and do that. You know, it's wild. You know, these algorithms and the support agents don't even work for they work with DoorDash, but they're not DoorDash employees. They're actually subcontracted out. At least I was told that. So they're reading from a book. I've called DoorDash. I'm sure you have too. And I tell them about a DoorDash issue and they're like, oh, thanks for calling Uber support. You know, they work for multiple different companies. These support agents.
They sound exactly the same when you call
same
Uber.
People. Exactly.
I guess it's in the Philippines. I've been told it's in the Philippines. So it's,
yeah, I think so.
There's no way to get them, you know, to take an issue that's beyond, you know,
yeah,
the order's not going to be picked up. So
yeah, you're right. So what, so you know, that video's got a lot of views, man. You know, like I saw it the other day. I was like, you're approaching 7,000 or something. You know, that's a lot, right? And
yeah,
your
for mine it is.
Unfortunately, I know this is positive. I know you mentioned that, but the weird thing about content creation on YouTube in this space, when negative things happen, people watch, people sub. So it's good and bad, right? So it's unfortunate that DoorDash, that this happened, but obviously, yeah, it's getting more eyes on your channel. You know, people are seeing your hustle, and that's a good thing, and how you grind, and you got the 3 months off in the summer. I think that's extremely inspirational. I think it's really cool. You know, most 99.9% of drivers are not going to be, and probably shouldn't do and work like you work, right? But there might be some that might say, hey, you know what? I'll grind for 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, stack my money, and I'll take a whole month off in the summer. That's reasonable, right? So I think people
have been inspired by it and motivated by it, and that just to hit their own goals. So that's my purpose of showing my crazy, you know, strategy for doing the gig work for a living.
Cool. So what would you say? Is there any learning lesson? Is there anything that you would have done differently if you would have known this, like let's say last week? Like, is there anything that you can share as a learning lesson for anybody?
Yeah, I mean, I have not collected the $3 on Uber since this happened. I send it to someone else. So
okay,
I'm paranoid to they're paying money that's costing them when you get that half pay. So that's why I had brought it up to the support, like, who is disciplining these restaurants, you know? And I would say it almost every other time I called about one of these 24-hour places saying they're closed. And so, yeah, I don't even collect the compensation anymore. I just click that, you know, whatever on the Uber, you just click whatever, you know, store closed or whatever, and it automatically sends it to another driver and raises the price. And you'll see one that's $40, and then you know the store's closed because it's too high.
Yeah,
you know?
I've had a couple like $20 ones in kind of bad weather here in St. Louis, and like $24 like Jack in the Box going 2 miles. And I immediately know, okay, this person's been waiting an hour or the store's closed. And I get there and the store's closed, and Uber gives me like $4. It's like, that's crazy. But I would say it's weird because I've thought about this as well. I think, and I don't have any stats or data to back it up, but I think that when a driver gets half pay, because I've seen both. I've seen a $6 order and they'd give me $3. I've seen a $6 order, like, or $6.25, and I've gotten like $5. So there was a hidden tip on there. So I've seen them pay me the half of the interface. I've also seen them pay me half of what it would have been. So either way, it's like, I'm good with it. It is what it is. I did half the work, give me half the pay. But I think that the DoorDash has to be charging the restaurant at some point. So if you're marking that McDonald's closed, there has to be some kind of on the earnings statement from McDonald's to DoorDash on what McDonald's owes DoorDash as far as the percentage and things. There's got to be a line for store closure or however they word it, reimbursement. Or, you know, I don't think DoorDash is eating that cost. I don't, at least not 100% of it. I could be wrong, but you know, I think they're not eating all of it.
So if the restaurant is charged, then that would give them motivation to lie to DoorDash and say that they really weren't claiming they were closed on that occasion.
True.
And so that's,
True.
I mean, that's
that. A support agent might have reached out to those McDonald's and Jack in the Boxes, and they might have said, no, we were open. And then maybe that's why the deactivation was prompted.
The times when I call support and there's employees there, they put me on hold to call them and they never answer. So
right,
the employees know it's the delivery company's calling, and they don't want to talk to them because they're not going to get talked into doing the order. They're on their unofficial break. So
yeah, it's crazy. So are you working tonight? I'm assuming.
I'm gonna log on right after this and do it all night.
I appreciate you spending the time with us. I know this is right, you know, your work time, but I wanted to get this information out. I wanted people to show you some love and support. I also wanted some people to, you know, a lot of people were assuming certain things and maybe they didn't have the full story. They thought this, they thought that. I wanted you to be able to share your side of it. And I do this show every Sunday. It's a good platform. I appreciate you coming on. I think some people can learn from this. I think obviously you said you're not doing that. You don't even want the $3 from Uber. You're paranoid. I get it. I would be too. Definitely though, man, I hope you get that 1,700. I think you will. Please keep us updated. If it happens, I'm sure you probably will. And I'm showing you my support, man. It sucks. Sorry it's happening. And if there's anything else you want to share before we go.
Just to thank you for everything you've done, and thanks for having me on.
Oh, anytime, man. Hey, have a good night tonight. You got my number. If you need something, I'll resend you the number that Gig Lebowski posted, and give him a call, man. You know, maybe it'll take you 5 or 10 minutes, but I definitely think it's worth the time. So,
okay, now that I have a number, yeah, I'll try that and see what happens.
Sounds good, man. Have a good night tonight, man. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. Later.
All right, that is Aaron, Uber Lyft Phoenix. All right.